At Jared, we know devotion isn't a once-a-year occasion. And once the flowers have wilted and the chocolates have disappeared, you'll still want them to know how much you care. Dare to give a gift that lasts this Valentine's Day with our incredible selection of jewelry. From delicate rose gold to bold black diamonds, Jared has hundreds of pieces under $299 and exclusive collections you won't find anywhere else. Shop online or find a store near you at jared.com and dare to be devoted.
Blog Talk Radio.
Man, we dedicate our life to this sport. We do thousands of sit-ups in camp. We run hundreds of miles, for the ones that take it serious. And we just dedicate ourselves fully to our craft, man. We watch tape. We have attitude. We rooting, and we go into that fight to lay it on the line.
Basketball fans, the College Ball Show returns. I am your host, Chris Carlson. My co-host, Marshall, will be joining me in just a moment. We decided to do a show tonight a little bit earlier than planned to try to just sneak it in. So we're kind of on the fly. Don't really know exactly how much time we got, but we're not going to make it a long show, much like last week. But Marshall will be joining this week. So there's that. Okay, so obviously let's jump right into this. The College Ball Show returns, like I said. Now we call it the College Ball Show because we talk college basketball. However, we started the College Ball Show back in late August for college football. We take that all the way to the national championship. Then the College Ball Show turns into basketball, which we have been since around mid-January for about 5 or 6 episodes now, actually. And we'll take that all the way to the national championship. And then we figure if you're already on the college basketball tip, there's a good chance you're going to at least pay attention and care somewhat about the NBA playoffs. We do that from April, May, June, all the way through the finals. We do an NBA draft show and an NBA free agency show sometime in the early part to mid part of July, whenever these guys decide where the hell are they going to go. But if this is your first time listening to the College Ball Show, it streams live right here on blogtalkradio.com/rope-it-up-radio. It streams live. It archives. It's basically the headquarters. However, if you listen to your podcast in a variety of different places, you can find us, whether it's on iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn is another great source. Player FM is another great source. We're also part of the Grueling Truth Sports Podcast Network. That's the Grueling Truth Sports Podcast Network. That can be found everywhere, including iTunes, but you can stream it on Spotify, and you can also check it out on iHeartRadio. That's the Grueling Truth Sports Podcast Network. The College Ball Show can be found there. Head on over to thegruelingtruth.net. That's thegruelingtruth.net. You can read an article. I do a weekly predictions, college basketball predictions. Also boxing as well, by the way. You can listen to the podcast right there at thegruelingtruth.net. And while you're at it, place a bet. It's mybookie.ag. Okay, so I'm going to let you know a little later in the show about us. You know, so many people are cutting the cord for cable. I'm going to let you know the best deal out there. It's DirecTV Now, especially if you're an AT&T customer. But even if you're not, forget it. It's still a great deal. A little later in the show, I'm going to tell you all about it, okay? A lot of people are cutting the cord or are thinking about cutting the cord because they keep looking at their cable bill, and they're like, what the hell is this? I got a much cheaper way to do it. save you some money, save you some time. You don't have to go through all the different trials. I got the thing for you. It's DirecTV Now. I'll give you the pricing. I'll give you the deal. And AT&T customers stick around for that as well. However, it is time to get to business. I had to kind of quickly go through that. 2 nights ago, holy cow, there was a whole lot to watch for college basketball in the way of ranked games, especially Duke, Louisville, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Purdue, Maryland. I mean, a variety of ranked versus ranked games. On Saturday, there was just a plethora of them. Virginia, Duke was a big one. Michigan, Wisconsin was another one. Marquette and Villanova, they finally played an important game in the Big East. FSU, Louisville. I mean, ranked versus ranked, scattered across the nation. We also had some games that happened on Monday as well. Virginia, North Carolina. So we got a whole lot to talk about, and then we're going to look forward to this coming weekend on Saturday, and then a handful of days after that. Obviously, the one that stands out on Saturday is number 1 Tennessee versus number 5 Kentucky. Kentucky coming off that tight loss to LSU at the buzzer. Also, Iowa State, Kansas State is a big one on that day as well. Maryland, Michigan playing as well. I mean, there is a ton of games coming up, guys, and we're going to break down the marquee matchups. We'll talk about maybe some ones that are flying under the radar that'll still be good. Monday night, you got Virginia, number 4, visiting in-state rival Virginia Tech. And then Tuesday, Maryland, Iowa, as far as rank versus rank. But next Wednesday, 6 days from now, number 2 Duke against number 8 North Kakalaka. It is one of the best, if not the best, rivalries in the business. And we're talking about sports business, not just college basketball. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Marshall and see what's going on. What's going on, Marshall? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm at a softball tournament. I've done shows in libraries and cars. I'm now doing a show from a live sporting event that was postponed or made into a longer day due to rain. So I'm not sure by much noise. And so if we have some arena venue noise from softballs being hit and cheering, it'll maybe make the show a little more authentic.
There you go.
Hey,
I don't mind that.
Hey, yeah, we're mixing
I
it
don't
up
mind
a little bit.
that at all.
I will say, with these long days starting to take over, I'm happy I did fall asleep watching Duke Louisville. The last I remember from that game was Louisville up 22 points, then I fell asleep on my couch. Now, what happened after that was tough to comprehend.
Hold on,
you kind of
fell
wake up.
asleep on a couch? You fell asleep on the couch? I don't believe it. I've never seen that taking place in my life. Oh, wait, I have 100
joke.
times. Go ahead. Sorry, it was an inside joke. A little pause maybe in there too. But it's just an inside joke. Keep going.
To wake up and like move to the bed and fall asleep, to see my phone say Duke had won, it was kind of one of those, oh boy. Kind of had to read the text messages in the group chat because one of the buddies in there is a Duke fan, and hearing that comprehend, I'm like, oh my, seriously? Like Duke, they won? And to win by 2, go on a 35-10 run? I mean, obviously Louisville got nervous. Duke has the players, but what a choke job to give up what was a marvelous first half of basketball and even a decent start to the second half. I mean, I don't know, can you run 4 corners? Can you just keep playing? I mean, obviously they got content with their lead, but that's a hell of a comeback. I think that's the biggest comeback Coach K has ever had as a Duke coach. It was the second biggest Duke comeback in team history. I hate to say those words, but you got to give them a compliment. When you open the door for all the talent they have on that team, all of a sudden things change. And all of a sudden, holy shit, you lose a game that you never should have lost if you're Louisville.
Yeah. That was crazy, man. And it was well into the second half, too, by the way. They came out firing on all cylinders and extended the lead, I believe. Yeah, like you said, it got up 23 points. Zion kept getting fouled. So he was in foul problems the first half and parts of the second half. They said, screw it. With just a little bit under 10 minutes left with 4 fouls, they said, screw it. We'll put them in. And that's when they went on the 35-10 run. He was everywhere. He was over there. He was over there. He was blocking shots. He was stealing. I mean, it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I had turned to a different game, and then I started seeing like the stat, like wow, wow, okay, I'll keep my eye on it. Okay, 14. Okay, it's a 10-point game. Okay, I'm gonna watch this. And that was crazy, man. Especially at Louisville, too, on the road. Like you said, they had such a great start too. That one blew me away. Another game I just mentioned too, LSU and Kentucky. This was a huge win for LSU in a variety of ways this year. Anyway, it was Big B Williams tipped it in right at the buzzer. Turned out it was the first time LSU had beaten a ranked Kentucky squad on the road since 1980. Huge win. Little tip in. You know, you can make an argument for goaltending, but that was not what they were reviewing. They were reviewing if, you know, if it was all there, like if they had gotten the thing. And I'm like, well, what are we reviewing here then? Because we know he got it off. It was like, what are we talking about? A little tip pass. It's kind of crazy, man. I really wanted to see how, you know, they would respond to Kentucky, because Kentucky has been playing really good or great lately. And all of a sudden, well, they played good in this game too. I think they had I shouldn't say sizable lead, but they were up. I feel like they were up by a fair amount at half, and slowly but surely, LSU just started chipping away at the lead, and it was 40-32 at half. It was a little bit later until LSU actually evened it up and even started taking the lead, but 41-31, they flipped it on them in the second half, 73-71. Really fun game. Like I said, there was a little bit of controversy with the tip-in because they didn't review if he had taken it off the cylinder or not. And, you know, I've seen some that look like I thought they were coming off, and people said, nope, or not people, but the ref said, nope, that was in the cylinder. And so I was kind of going off that. So to me, it actually looked like it was still in the cylinder, but it did kind of pop up in the air. But that was not reviewable, which was a little like, oh, okay, well, then we know he got it in. I don't know what are we even reviewing here then, because we know he got it in. So it was kind of a strange ending, but a really good game. And like I said, for LSU, with Kentucky, you know, facing LSU, who was 19 at the time, that's going to go up. And now having to face Tennessee on Saturday, this is big for them. And for LSU, man, that is huge. Like I said, they haven't done that in quite a while. And actually, Tuesday had all sorts of stuff going on. You had Penn State, who I think were at the bottom of the barrel of the Big Ten. They pull off an upset, 75-69 over Michigan. I'm scratching my head over there going, what the hell? I guess they're looking ahead to the big matchups that they have still left in the season. Michigan State, you know, they lost 3 in a row. Now they've won 3 in a row. They beat Wisconsin on the road. That was a good win, 67-59. Maryland stopped Purdue's streak of, I believe, 9 or 10. They had been on a run for quite some time, 70-56. Kansas State was able to stay ahead of Texas, and I was wondering if they were going to be able to do that coming off of big wins and being in such good, you know, prime position in the Big 12, but they were able to get that done. It's been like the Big Ten in other conferences too, but especially the Big Ten. It's like people will go on like 9-game winning streaks, then they'll lose 2 or 3 in a row, or 3 out of 4 or whatever. And that happened to Maryland. You know, they started out so this year. Then they were I think 6 or 7-1 they got to. Then Maryland stumbled a little bit, and now it looks like they're kind of clawing their way back. We talked about how Purdue stumbled out the gate for quite a while, and they finally lost. So that was a pretty big deal last night. Villanova pretty much handled business. Texas Tech actually looked like Texas Tech last night. That was interesting to see. And obviously, from Saturday, there was a variety of other games that were competitive. Like I said, Michigan got a nice win at home they were at home. They beat Wisconsin. Wisconsin was the first team to beat them, so I thought that was nice to get over the hump. The North Kakalaka Tar Heels went overtime against Miami. I guess kind of barely looking ahead potentially to a matchup they had. We know Virginia, they had a rough schedule back-to-back to have to take on, Duke, and then to turn right around and go on the road and have to play North Carolina. That was a rough one. But I did think Duke looked pretty damn good, Barrett scoring-wise. And, the first time these two teams met, Duke and Virginia, Marshall, they couldn't hit a three to save their life. It seemed like they couldn't miss a three in the rematch to save their life, especially Duke. We know Duke, that's their one weakness is three-point shots. They hit 13 of them, 13 of 21. Even taking 21 of them was pretty impressive, and they shot almost 58% from the field. What'd you take away from a variety of games, including Duke now beating Virginia twice? And if you're Virginia, you can't get too down on yourself because that's your only two losses. But I really liked what I saw out of Duke. I know you're not going to say that, but the week that they had was pretty damn impressive, obviously, with their two wins there. But what do you take from a couple of those Saturday games? Duke going into Virginia. Virginia played them well for a while, and Duke just kind of slowly but surely got that just enough lead to get a big victory. And like I said, Marquette beat Villanova to stay alive in that two-team race in the Big East.
Yeah, I mean, Duke I just think they're a bad matchup for Virginia. They have too much offensive power. I mean, I know Virginia's become a little more of an offensive team, but still, Duke has overloaded them offensively. So I know Virginia likes to play a slow style and kind of grind it out. You really can't do that against this Duke team because they have too many people that can beat you off the dribble. So for better or worse, it's still a tough team for Virginia to beat. This isn't probably the best year for them to play. And I agree with you. That Kentucky call, Coach Cal was pissed at the half court, and I can't disagree with him. It did look like that was pretty obviously offensive goaltending. I can't dispute that call at all. I would have been livid too. It was a pretty obvious call. I guess that isn't reviewable, but yeah, it's a tough loss to stomach because then you would have had OT and that's a whole new game, especially with the home court advantage. So overall, I mean,
it seemed like it was still on the cylinder. It didn't really seem like it seemed like a pretty easy call. It was right on the cylinder,
Yeah, I agree. I'm not quite sure what the ref was seeing. Again, maybe it's one of those moments where the game's on the line, the score is close, you look at the clock, and things happen too quickly. But again, the job of the official is still to make the proper call, make the right call. And in this case, Kentucky did get screwed over, I would say, pretty confidently. So, yeah, that one would be a little tough to swallow. But then Virginia, unfortunately, to their credit, they came back and beat Carolina, where Virginia's issue with Duke down the stretch has been not being able to score. Virginia and Carolina were tied in Carolina with about 4 minutes to go. We ended up having a shot clock violation, which was a three-pointer from Barry I'm having flashbacks, not Barry. I was looking back last year. Our point guard hits a three-pointer, which went from like 40 feet out. They reviewed the shot clock violation, realized the ball was still on his fingertips, and so we go into the under 4 minute timeout. And from that point on, Virginia goes on like a 11-2 run to finish the game. So it went from having great momentum to a 3-point lead to they take it back, and it's like that kind of killed us. It was such a huge shot. We took a 3-point lead. They review it, come back, we got nothing, and it kind of drained us. And Carolina still does not have the identity of who's going to take over that game-winning shot on the game line. I know Kobe White's become that guy, but he's also a freshman. And it's kind of like a pick your own poison day with Luke May or Cam Johnson. We're still trying to get pieces figured out, which is not a bad thing. I mean, it's still early, and we're still a decently ranked team, but our end-of-game scoring has become an issue in close games this year, which hopefully Roy can fix as the year goes by.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And that Kobe White, against Miami, he had 33 points, the third most all time for a freshman, 7 out of 10 from 3-point range, and 6 assists. Like, damn, he had a hell of a game, man.
That kid
dude
can ball. He can really ball.
Yeah, he really can. He's got a lot of energy in him, dude. He's just a little spark plug, dude. Talking about that Michigan-Wisconsin game, Michigan now moves 5-0 versus the ranked opponents this year. That'll obviously help with the quad ones and the quad twos and all the other different stats that they're going to talk about for us. You know, Houston in Cincinnati was ranked versus ranked on Sunday, 12 versus 25 at the time. Houston got it done 65-58. 23-1 now, and they've won 32 straight home games. Houston has. That's the longest streak in Division 1A or Division 1. And that's the second longest streak at home for Houston since way back in the day with the Phi Slamma Jamma days back in the 80s. It's their second best start ever. So that's pretty damn crazy, I'd say. Gonna say something else too on that. Oh, I was gonna talk about that Villanova Marquette. Well, actually, both teams got caught looking ahead. It's just Villanova was able to kind of snaggle out of a game. I think it was on Thursday. They ended up finding a way to get that done, whereas Marquette, like I said, got caught looking ahead. But then they actually did their due diligence and got the win 66-65 against Nova. Marcus Howard had 38 points. That was a pretty big win for them because, like I said, it's basically been like a two-man show over there. But, yeah, I mean, for Virginia to bounce back like that, I know it was against your boys, but I was pretty impressed. I really wanted to see how they were going to handle those back-to-back games, and they got through it. Like I said, you can't get too down on yourself if you're them because it's like, dude, I mean, your only 2 losses is to a pretty damn good club. So, like I said, Michigan State. Michigan State had lost 3 in a row, and then the Gophers came into town. So I knew, obviously, hey, you need a streak to break. You on a bad streak? Have the Gophers come into town. We'll make sure we'll get our ass kicked, and that's exactly what happened. And actually, to make matters worse, although I'm not going to scream. Well, you know what? The refs screwed us near the end of that game last night. But the freaking I think it was Nebraska was on a 7-game losing streak, and of course the Gophers came to town and they got beat. Although in this one it was tight, and actually the Gophers got screwed by about 2 or 3 calls at the end, but especially the one with 1.1 seconds on the clock. That was rough, man. Is there anything that you'd like to talk about that happened in the last couple of days that come to mind, or should we start to kind of break down this weekend? Because the ACC and the SEC definitely have some important matchups. As respect, when it comes to the conference races, most of the marquee matchups are within the SEC and the ACC. Any obviously Clemson and Penn State pulled off the biggest upsets in this abundance of ranked versus ranked matchups that littered the college basketball landscape. Anything else you'd like to cover at all before we start to break down what's next for the weekend?
No, we can move on. I think I got another good segment or two. Then I kind of have to get back to the team. But obviously, as you've mentioned, the SEC, Tennessee, they keep staying on top, man. They're a fun bunch. They're a fun team to watch. They got players. They got everything, and they're still chilling up top there. And also, props to LSU. We were. I remember last time I did a show with you, we were concerned. What kind of team are they? Well, hell, they beat Kentucky in Kentucky. And I loved their game because their bigs were making plays consistently throughout that game. So I think we're finding out that Kentucky is a for real team. So with SEC being more and more competitive, our statement about saying the SEC tournament may be the most fun conference tournament to watch this year is getting more and more close, Chris. And obviously Kentucky, it's not Cal's typical freshman boys he's trying to groom. These are like kids who already got their positions figured out. So imagine how good Kentucky's going to be come March. Like, holy God, look the hell out.
Yeah, I mean, that Washington kid down low, is worth the price of admission, man. He's springy. He's got really good fundamentals, good fundamentally in the post. Also, just in general, you know, the SEC seems to be taking over the Big 12 even right now. I mean, we've been breaking down Big 10, ACC, and SEC along with the Big 12, but it seems like at least top heavy, those three teams. I mean, I would say those are better than the three teams that you could throw out for the Big 12. But let's get into some of these picks while we still got you on the line. Marquee matchups on Saturday: number 1 Tennessee versus number 5 Kentucky, and number 6 Michigan versus number 24 Maryland. Those will be two games that will break down here. Obviously, you know, Kentucky's coming off that razor close last second, loss to LSU. They definitely need to secure this victory so they can, hold pace, because you have Tennessee that brings in I don't know what it is, 18 in a row. They've won a bunch in a row. That's what I do know. And this is a big challenge for them on the road at Rupp Arena. You know, they've had an impressive run, but really it's been Gonzaga has probably been the best win during that run. Now, they did beat Louisville prior to that Gonzaga game. I just don't see Kentucky losing back-to-back home games, considering that loss on Tuesday was just the 10th loss at home under the John Calipari coached squad. So, it's 10 losses in that amount of time is pretty good at home. I don't see them losing back-to-back. What do you think? You think the Volunteers can come in there and I wouldn't say pull an upset, but knock off Kentucky and make them, that would really hurt them within the conference race.
I'm going to keep riding with Tennessee until I find out different, man. They've been winning game after game. They have an unbeaten streak on the road. I think they're just a special bunch that's going to continue to stay that way. And until I hear differently, let's go with it. The thing I have been scared about is Kentucky's kind of like low post offense. I don't know, just the few games I've watched them play, it seems like they've been killed in the boards. So obviously that's something I'd be looking out for is can they control the rebounds? Can they control the glass? Because Kentucky's always got someone driving to the hole or some like big white guy that Calipari's got that no one ever figured out that can score. So I think interior defense would be my one concern for Tennessee because offensively, man, they can ball.
Right.
That Williams, a couple weeks ago when he was 23 of 23 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
I trust that guy with any game I need, Chris. If that guy's got the ball in his hand and he's going to score or get fouled, he's going to make buckets. So it's hard not to love a guy like that.
Definitely. So Michigan, Maryland, number 6, number 24. The Terrapins coming in flying high, having defeated red-hot Purdue. The Wolverines stumbled on Tuesday, somehow being upset by a 9-win Penn State team. Maryland has been really a bit of tough out on the inside the conference on the road. Obviously, something has to give. It's a crucial matchup at this point. I think Michigan gets the home victory, which sets up nicely for Michigan on the stretch run because Michigan has Michigan State twice, I believe, and Maryland twice before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I just think that Michigan is a very good, sound defensive team. I think that's what's going to carry them. The games they have lost have been relatively low scoring. I just think that's the fundamental base of their squad. They started off hot because they're playing defense. They've had a couple of games where they're a little more lower scoring, but Beeline's had that defense figured out for a long time. So I'll just go with Michigan. I just think that they're maybe getting closer to a Virginia type of team, or maybe Michigan doesn't have the regular NBA talented guard they usually do, but they have teams that can keep you down to 50s or 60s, and that can win you tons and tons of games.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Speaking about keeping you under 50, Virginia, number 4, travels to number 22 Virginia Tech, and they've won 2 in a row, but they haven't. It has been against subpar opponents. They lost to Louisville, then they lost to Clemson. Virginia will need a top-notch defensive effort to, kind of like the one they produced against NC State when they held them to 24 points a couple weeks back. Virginia, they hit the road again, obviously, and they still need this win here. Are we asking a lot? Virginia's, in a tough stretch here. Are we asking a lot for them to win on the road again, especially against Virginia Tech, who does have some offensive weapons? I kind of feel like Virginia's going to grit this one out in an ugly overtime game. I'm calling for overtime, Marshall, but the game's still going to be in like the high 60s.
Well, this will be my last pick, so I don't get fired.
Okay, Duke, North Carolina then. Duke, North Carolina then.
Okay, well, I'm going to take Virginia. I'm taking Carolina. I can never pick Duke. I think this is one of the most offensive talented teams Duke has had to face us. But also in that game, Chris, and we've known each other for a long time, the best team doesn't always win. That is legit. 2 teams that always put up a hell of a fight. It doesn't matter who's the more talented team. Half the time, the more talented team can get beat by 10 or 15. So, I love my boys. I think this is a game that will help our team build. We need that game where we kind of figure out who's got balls and who's going to make the shot and who doesn't. We're still figuring that out. I think in a game like this, someone has to step up. It's Duke, Carolina. You realize who your stars are, and maybe this is a game that one of our players uses for a step off and makes him a better player for the rest of the year. Yeah, I love the Heels. I'm going to pick my boys. I think this will be a good test. But again, Duke defensively is not a great team, and Carolina scores points like they normally do. So our chances, we're going to get them down the court with them, and hopefully our bigs can do something to try to slow down Zion. Because Luke May is going to get murdered by him. Same with anyone else put on. So maybe a group effort defensively.
Did you see that block that Zion had against Virginia, dude? Where he ran out to the 3? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. All right, buddy. You have yourself a good night. Right. Good luck in the tourney.
Go Heels. I'm out.
There you go. All righty. That was Marshall. We got him on here. Luckily, just enough time. Like I said, we were going to do it a little later tonight, but all of a sudden, I guess it's raining, cats and dogs down in Texas. And so they had to have wait a second. Oh, it's softball, not volleyball. I was like, wait a second. So I guess they got one place to play it right now, and so there's a bunch of games that got delayed. So we were able to get them in there. Thank goodness. I'm going to kind of talk you through some of these games. I don't think Duke is bad at defense. I'm not sure where he got that from. Last year they were. That's why they played the zone so much. They got a super young team this year, but I wouldn't go and say they're bad at defense. You know what I mean? I'm not sure about that. That just sounds like a North Carolina dude talking. But, hey, what do I know, right? Actually, I do know that Duke isn't bad defensively. I think they're going to just get better and better and better. Kind of breaking down that game, though, next Wednesday, that's a good game. Number 2 Duke, number 8 North Carolina. Like I said, they got to face each other then, and then one more. Usually that's the last game of the conference schedule for them, Duke and North Carolina. I could be wrong, but that's usually the case. The Tar Heels have been pretty hot. They got their butt whooped sometime in January against Louisville, and then I think they went 7 in a row, 7 straight until losing, at home to Virginia. And they had like a decent lead, I think 8-point lead with 8 minutes remaining, and they just kind of fell apart, like Marsha was saying, that they haven't closed well. And I still can't believe that comeback for the ages. 23-point comeback. That was ridiculous. This year, and my co-host Marshall, who follows the team, fairly tightly, they are depending on different things this year. Usually they got like 7 bigs on their squad, right? They got 2 starters, they got 2 backups, they got a guy, they usually got a bunch of bigs. And they're outside shooting. Maybe they got 1 shooter, maybe 2, but they generally struggle from the outside. That's not the case this year. In fact, they got May, but they're still kind of trying to find that post game. But they depend more on outside shooting this year, which is, like I said, a complete 180 under Roy Williams at North Carolina. I think it's probably up to, what's Duke on, like a 7 in a row by now, 8 in a row winning streak. Right now, it's just difficult to pick against this Duke squad. Especially, just picking them in general, right? But especially in Cameron Indoor. Duke's gonna pull away in the last few minutes to get the job done against their bitter rival, and they're gonna walk right out that door. Now, there's a couple of games under the radar because of the marquee matchups: Tennessee, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina. Number 18, Kansas State versus number 23, Iowa State. This is legit. This is a good game. Both teams, like I said, have a chance, a legitimate chance to dethrone the Kansas Jayhawks in the Big 12. I'd say Kansas State's more of the surprise story, thus far. But you can't count out the Cyclones, man. And, desperation can bring out the best. So I assume that this should be a good game. Number 18, Kansas State, and number 23, Iowa State. Also, speaking of Iowa, let's stay in the state. Number 21, Iowa versus number 24, Maryland. It's a pair of ranked teams going head-to-head, and they're, once again, vying for position. They really need to kind of fit in. Maryland seems like they, have bounced back nicely. They're only a game out of a 2-way tie for first, whereas, the Hawkeyes are 2.5 out of that top spot. But this one should be ultra competitive all the way through. It's a really good game. And, as we kind of make our way through the conference stuff and break down, what's going on. In fact, right now, a little over 10 minutes in, Connecticut is up 18-17 on Houston. So, it's 23-22 now. It just updated on me. So Houston has the lead. I'll just shut up. Forget everything I said. No, just kidding. Just going to go through the standings in a handful of these conference races really quick to kind of update where we're at. Duke stands alone in the ACC at 10-1, 22-2 overall. Virginia and North Carolina are at 9-2, so that was a huge win. And I believe Virginia does not play North Carolina a second time. Of course, that could change in the conference, tourney. So 9-2, 9-2, and then you have 3 teams at 8-4: Virginia Tech, Louisville, in Syracuse. Florida State's kind of getting it back together. They're still 19-5. They're ranked 17th. They just beat a ranked team, they beat a ranked team at 7-4. So still plenty of time. Obviously, North Carolina could, beat Duke twice. I just don't see that happening, but who knows? I was talking about the Big 12 not too long ago with that Kansas State, Iowa State. This is why it's meaningful, man. Here we are, a 2-game lead, actually a game and a half, now that I think about it. Kansas State at 9-2 and 19-5 overall. So they're leading, like fully leading. Now 8-4 and 8-4. You got a tie at Texas Tech. I believe Kansas beat Texas Tech. Was it twice? Let me see. I think it was twice they beat them already. Oh no, they got to play them again. They beat them once, 79-76 or 79-63. They still got to. That's right. They still got to play them. So again, that'd be big. That'd be very big. And then obviously you have Iowa State and Baylor. at 7-4, and the way it's going, Iowa State beats Kansas State, it's a cluster. Then you got a three-way tie, and if Baylor wins, it's a four-way tie. So don't go anywhere. The Big 12 is wide open. Unfortunately, it's still wide open for Kansas to win. I was talking about the Big East. It's a two-team conference, right? I almost said a two-man conference. Now, that was the first loss that Nova took. 11-1 now, right? Marquette's sitting right at there, a game back, 10-2. That rematch will be big. No doubt about that. That'll be a good game. So, what do we have here in the Big Ten? Michigan State in Michigan, both sitting at top, 11-3, only a half game out. Purdue, right there, half game out. Like I said, Maryland is a game out. Wisconsin's kind of fallen back minorly. They're still 9-5, but they've lost two in a row. They're still only 2 games out of first place. Iowa at 8-5, 2.5, and then it falls off. 6-6 Ohio State, 6-8 unfortunately Minnesota. We were just 6-4. What the hell happened? Oh, a 4-game losing streak happened, and then Illinois is 5-8. Indiana fans 4-9 right now. Yeah, Penn State had 1 win in conference play, and they went ahead and beat the top, or the team tied for the top. That's crazy. Okay, get ready for our weekly check-in into the Pac-12. What do we got? Drum roll, please. 10-1 Washington, still 3 games ahead. That's all we have to say. SEC, what do we got? We got Tennessee 11-0. LSU 10-1 now after that victory. You got Kentucky at 9-2. And then it seems like there is finally separation there from the top 3 teams, of course. And I think even like that was last week too. But there's not a lot of separations from the other teams, though, as far as within themselves, right? Ole Miss still 7-4. Wow. Carolina 7-4, 12-12 overall, but they're 7-4. Bama and Auburn 6-5 and 5-6. There's actually there's 4 teams at 5-6. That's kind of crazy. Anyway, I think that's gonna do it. That's going to do it. So enjoy the games this weekend, Saturday. Got a big matchup all the way through the week, all the way through next Wednesday. Or likely, well, I don't really know when we're going to do our next show, whether it be next Thursday or whether it will be Tuesday. I'm not quite sure. But we'll definitely be back here on the College Ball Show. I appreciate everybody that listened. And by the way, I told you I was going to tell you about that DirecTV Now deal. So if you want to cut the cord, you're thinking about it, I say do it. If you've already cut the cord and you don't like what you're getting out of your Sling or your Hulu Plus cable package or your YouTube, I got the thing for you right here. Okay, it's DirecTV Now. Okay, you get a free 7-day trial. You can have live channels, 65 live channels up to for $40. For $55, it's 85 live channels. For $65, it's 105. You can even go all the way up to 125 live channels. That'll cost you $75. There's even a 90-channel Spanish, package too for $45. It's a good deal, man. It's a good deal. Obviously, the technology on all these streaming services still has to catch up. It still has to develop more. But I've found that as far as cable streaming, it's been the best. I tried Hulu Plus, I tried YouTube, I tried Sling, and it wasn't that good a quality. It wasn't at all. And for me, DirecTV Now was the best. And I've even noticed I've had it now since late August, I believe, or maybe early September. I cut the cord at the end of July, basically. And I was just doing Amazon and kind of catching up on stuff. And like I said, I tried a variety of packages. And I'd say in the 7 or 8 months I've had it, I can even tell that it's improved since I've gotten it, okay? So it's a really great deal. Sign up for DirecTV Now. However, if you are an AT&T customer, which I have been since the second cell phone I owned, AT&T, There's a DirecTV Now and an AT&T deal. And those deals that I told you about, the 40, the 55, the 65, the 75, those can all be locked in for 2 years. Obviously, over time the price is going to go up. It's inflation. Shit happens. But here it locks you in. So you could have, a mid-level, let's say you go for the 55 package, right? You could still have Amazon. You could still get HBO, Showtime, if you like ESPN Plus or something else, DAZN, whatever it is. You can still have a Netflix, of course. Can't forget about that. You can have all that stuff and still be $60, $80, $100 less than the package that you got right now. Something to think about, DirecTV Now. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here, folks. Enjoy the ball games. And any Indiana fans listening, the Gophers are coming for you. Boy, that didn't sound threatening at all, did it? It's been a tough run for us Indiana and Minnesota fans right now. So that's going to be a battle. That will be a battle, one to remember. But anyway, Indiana fans, I feel your pain, okay? I feel your pain. We're going to get through it. I don't know how, but we're going to get through it. Right now, my Gophers on a 4-game losing streak, and we needed probably at least one. We needed the win last night against Nebraska. Anyway, tomorrow we'll be doing the Living in Loserville podcast covering the Minnesota Timberwolves, who just hit the break, the All-Star break I'm speaking of. And then we'll talk about, we're going to start previewing some NIT stuff. What do you think, Indiana fans? Minnesota, Indiana, let's start talking NIT because it's getting thin pickings as far as making the tournament. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Enjoy the week and enjoy the early games next week. Peace.
At Jared, we know devotion isn't a once-a-year occasion. And once the flowers have wilted and the chocolates have disappeared, you'll still want them to know how much you care. Dare to give a gift that lasts this Valentine's Day with our incredible selection of jewelry. From delicate rose gold to bold black diamonds, Jared has hundreds of pieces under $299 and exclusive collections you won't find anywhere else. Shop online or find a store near you at jared.com and dare to be devoted. At Jared, we know devotion isn't a once-a-year occasion. And once the flowers have wilted and the chocolates have disappeared, you'll still want them to know how much you care. Dare to give a gift that lasts this Valentine's Day with our incredible selection of jewelry. From delicate rose gold to bold black diamonds, Jared has hundreds of pieces under $299 and exclusive collections you won't find anywhere else. Shop online or find a store near you at jared.com and dare to be devoted.